On display, the culmination of New England's style, passion, and emotion. It's the finale of a frantic week at the place they call the Heights. 7 days, 7 big-time events. A week that included heartache and joy on the ice. A Valentine's Day storm outside and inside. And a week that concludes with a battle for top spot in the ACC. You know Tyler Hansbrough won't stop working. And you know Jared Dudley expects redemption after an off night Wednesday against Duke. He is ready to rebound. Welcome to historic Boston. And don't let Dickie V fool you. This is not the Fens, it's the Heights. And the Eagles hope to soar against the Heels tonight. Another packed house here at Connie Forum. The BC Eagles, led by Jared Dudley, coming off a subpar performance. Didn't get a lot of opportunities against Duke in the loss on a Wednesday. On Tuesday, North Carolina lost to Virginia Tech. Brandon Wright didn't have a big game. Hurt his shoulder in practice Thursday, but he will play tonight. And welcome to ESPN's Saturday Primetime, presented by DirecTV. Number 4, North Carolina. Number 21, Boston College, from a sold-out Connie Forum here in Chestnut Hill. And why is this game so meaningful? Well, let's look inside the ACC and look at the standings right up near the top. BC and North Carolina, both right in the mix for the regular season championship in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman and Dick Vitale. Glad to be here with you. Great atmosphere here in Chestnut Hill tonight. Very meaningful game, but you say it's bigger for Boston College.
It really is big. Anytime you have Duke and North Carolina coming to your campus within 4 days, you better take advantage. Well, they slipped against Duke. They can't afford to slip on their floor against North Carolina if their dream is to win the ACC league. They have to win this game, because if they lose, they go on a road and face a hot Virginia Tech team.
And maybe, as we take a look now at our Star Watch, brought to you by State Farm, just maybe, Dick, the top 2 contenders for Player of the Year in the ACC.
Tyler Hansbrough certainly a factor inside, 18 points a game. And Jared Dudley, as you said, limited to only 5 shots, leads the conference in scoring and rebounding. The last time that happened, it was a kid from North Carolina by the name of Antoine Jameson in 1998.
2 outstanding players, but they've both got a very strong supporting cast as well. As we check out the starting lineups, beginning with Carolina's backcourt, a couple of talented freshmen. Ty Lawson having a sensational freshman season down in Chapel Hill, and up front, Tyler Hansbrough, Brandon Wright, joined by the senior Rayshawn Terry. For Boston College, Tyrese Rice, a sophomore, and Sean Marshall, who has started every game in his 4 years with the Eagles. And up front, Dudley's got John Oates in the middle and a good freshman, Shamari Spears, a real beast on the inside for the Eagles. But Dudley is the key to the Eagles' engine. And with more on that, let's go to Aaron Andrews.
Dan, and Jared Dudley told me tonight that loss to Duke was the most frustrated he has ever been in his entire career. He said, not only did I let myself down, but more importantly, I left my teammates down. So what is his mindset tonight heading into this enormous matchup? He told me, I have put all of this pressure on myself to step it up. And I got to tell you, I talked with his mother, Melinda, and his brother, Milan, who are in the crowd tonight, and they claim when Jared Dudley says he wants to redeem himself, he will.
I'll tell you one thing, Aaron, it must pay to be a star, because his mom gets center court seats, baby. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right, you were here Wednesday in the loss to Duke. One of the things that stunned you was how many dunks and layups the Blue Devils got against Al Skinner's team. Usually a very tough and tough-minded team.
It was really layupville. And the reason, Duke was getting penetration, good ball movement, player movement. And I thought when you look certainly at BC, you didn't get the kind of effort and the passion you expected playing a team like Duke.
The Eagles have brought out some special gold unis for the game tonight. The Tar Heels in visiting Carolina Blue.
They're going to get the best shot from North Carolina as you watch Hansbrough inside score, because they're coming off a loss at home to Virginia Tech.
And scoring over Spears, not Oates. At least the first time down the floor, Hansbrough guarded by Spears, and he's got 3 inches on Spears.
Can't play him one-on-one. You're going to have to double him.
Al Skinner said before the game the biggest problem Boston College had on Wednesday was how poorly they ran their offense. That's what led to turnovers, and that's what led to the dunks and layups. The putback will go for John Oates to tie it up.
John Oates hanging around the glass, very emotional. Roy Williams told me before the game, Dan, he said they run the flex offense better than any club they're competed against. They execute, they're efficient, but it did exist against Duke.
Hansbrough looking for his offense early.
Can't play him one-on-one.
No.
You can't play him one-on-one. You got to get the ball out of his hands, and you're going to have to do that by running somebody at him.
Last season, Carolina and BC met twice. The Eagles won both. One in Chapel Hill and one in a game you did, the semifinals of the ACC tournament in Greensboro.
Different club, though, with the power inside they had with Smith, who operated just like that. They go to Dudley inside, and he gets a quick score.
Dudley's story well known by now, not highly recruited at all, coming out of high school from San Diego. There's Brandon Wright missing the runner. But Dudley has become an all-league performer and quite possibly an All-American at the end of this season.
He's very versatile. Coming into the Duke game, his 4 games prior to Duke, 25 points a game and 10 rebounds a game.
And you want to talk about guys who play at high intensity, high effort all the time. Hansbrough and Dudley do that as much as anybody in America. These guys don't know how to take a play off.
Well, that's what really disappointed me against Duke. He didn't play with the kind of energy and passion that I expected to see out of a superstar.
Oates, the big guy, can shoot it from out there as he knocks in the 3.
He has to make that shot to be effective. Teams give him a look up on top.
Now a Carolina turnover, and boy, is this crowd into it early here tonight.
I think the key in the game is going to be who wins the battle at the point guard slot, Rice or Lawson. Who takes advantage in terms of penetration?
Dudley looking for the foul, and he's going to get 3 free throws. Rayshon Terry is called for the foul. He's looking at his teammates saying, hey, that's not my man, who somebody should have been out there.
He also made a 4-point play against Florida State. One of the great plays in a game where they came from behind. There's the contact against Florida State. That baby went down.
Yep. So a good start here for Dudley after a quiet and frustrating night against Duke Wednesday. Remember, both of these teams come into this game off losses, so both of them really may be playing at an even higher level of intensity. You got to believe that both coaches really got into their teams the last couple of days.
And not only both teams coming off losses, both lost at home. North Carolina lost to Virginia Tech at home. And by the way, what a job Seth Greenberg has done as you look at Hall of Fame nominee Roy Williams.
Not the only one in the house tonight.
Roy Williams certainly has done a terrific job at North Carolina, at Kansas. People sometimes a little critical about Kansas not winning a national title, but let me tell you, he was magical there to average 28 wins. And if I was casting a ballot, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Dudley misses 2 of the 3. You're on that list as well. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. 8-4 Boston College, off to a good start here against the Tar Heels. Alex Stevenson checks into the game early, along with Deion Thompson, as Roy Williams goes to his bench early. Wright and Hansbrough have both already gone to the bench, and this is a deep team, and they like to sub guys in and out, and now Hansbrough's getting ready to come right back in.
You know, Thompson gives him a score, Stevenson gives him more of a defensive presence. 2 young kids that will be very good players once they start getting a lot more minutes.
Tyrese Rice uses the screen, misses the 3, and look at Oates going in for the stuff.
Nobody blocked him out. He got a direct lane to the basket. Hey, he came up to me before the game. He said, I got to get you to sign a picture I took with you when I was 8 years old.
John Oates?
Yeah.
How big was he then?
He was 8 years old. I don't remember it. Can't remember it.
What a start for John Oates, who is far from option number 1.
There's Oates going to the goal. Nobody blocks out. Look at him going direct to the basket. I mean, I could have scored there. That's a no-no. You got to find your man and put a body on him.
Dick Oates averages 4.5 points per game. He's got 7 already here tonight. It's a game of tempo. BC wants to keep it in the half court. Carolina wants to get up and down.
Oates, by the way, his career high is 12. Had 12 as a high for the season this year against Wake Forest.
Hansbrough and Ryder back in. Danny Green is in as well, and his jumper will bounce in.
I like Green. I like Ginyard. I think we're going to see Ginyard play some defense on Dudley. He's a defensive stopper.
Ooh, bad pass. Yeah, Rice telegraphed it. Hansbrough picks it off and slams it.
Now Hansbrough having a great start early in the game. As you look at Al Skinner, not happy with the ball movement. He was 4 for 10 against Virginia Tech, 3 for 3 tonight, Hansbrough.
Rice, a good point guard, leading the ACC in assists. He just turned it over, though, for the second time in as many trips down the floor. We're tied at 10 here early at Conte Forum. We'll talk about Roy Williams and the other Hall of Fame nominee in the building here tonight when we come back after this.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. There's good TV, there's better TV, and then there's DirecTV. And in part by Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at MBUSA.com.
It is all tied up here at the Heights, and as we mentioned earlier, the 2007 Basketball Hall of Fame finalists were announced. Roy Williams, one of those finalists. So how did he find out? At practice on Friday, he was getting ready to start things up, and Wes Miller, Rashawn Terry, two of his players said, "Coach, hold on a second. We've got a big announcement. You have just been nominated." Roy Williams said he had no idea about it. He credits 18 great years of great players. He also kidded with us, Dan, and said, usually when you're awarded that, you either aren't coaching long after that or you pass away. So Roy Williams hoping that's not the case, and I know you have a little bit to add too.
Yeah, Aaron, great job. And as we see the names on the list, of course, Dick Vitale is on the list along with Roy Williams. Congratulations to you from all of us in the ESPN family. I think we're all feeling that it's going to happen, and we're all pulling for you. But talk about what it means to you and what you think about Coach Williams getting nominated.
I think Coach Williams certainly has done a phenomenal job. When you think about the youngest to get the 500 wins, he's won a national title. He's been in the Final Four numerous times, and he's had consistency. Mike Krzyzewski got in very young, early, deservedly, and Roy deserves it.
Wayne Ellington with the long jumper gives Carolina a 3-point lead.
He can shoot the three, there's no question. Isn't it ironic, in my nomination, also nominated was Bill Davidson of the Pistons. He fired me on November 8, 1979. He gave me the Ziggy, put me to TV where I've been undefeated for 28 years.
Well, then he should make the speech for at your induction.
You should thank him. He's a terrific guy. He had to fire me. I didn't get the job done.
Bill Jackson is also on the list.
Nice
look at the speed. Is there anybody quicker coast to coast in America than Ty Lawson?
You know, he was interesting to read his quotes. Roy Williams said he liked his quotes. He was quoted after the Virginia Tech game saying, simply, we have to get tougher. Yeah. We have to really get tougher and play better to start a game with more energy.
A 9-0 run for the Tar Heels. They have quieted this sellout crowd. You talked about it, maybe the biggest week of basketball, one of them in BC history, home games against Duke and Carolina the same week.
Well, it could be devastating if you go 0-2 and then you got to go on a road on Wednesday against Virginia Tech.
A very good Virginia Tech team, as Spears has called for the foul.
And think about this, Al Skinner also has only one other home game right here against Clemson, and then they got to go on a road against a good Georgia Tech game. I mean, you could finish on a stride of losing all those games, and that's not the way to get in front of the Quinn committee, especially when you look at your pre-conference schedule and you have early season losses to Duquesne and to Vermont on your own floor.
And they'll say, hey, the Duquesne game, Dudley wasn't playing, he was hurt. The Virginia earlier today, by the way, beat Florida State 73-70, only by 3 points, a home game for Virginia. That's why they have moved into a first-place tie in league standings with Boston College.
Well, you know, when you look at the RPI, top 40 are 9 teams from out of the ACC. So the competition in the conference has been so intense.
Bobby Fraser into the game for Carolina. Roy Williams says, hey, if my 9th and 10th guys are better than your 9th and 10th guys, why don't I sub as often as I can and get as deep into your bench and run up and down as much as I can?
Well, Fraser's a guy that gives him stability. He has a guy that's really given him good minutes over his career.
Boy, what a great job saving that by Deon Thompson.
Shot clock violation right there. He made a terrific effort right here to keep the ball alive. Now, that's not a bad play because it's under your basket.
Wow.
If it's under the other club's basket, that's a poor play.
Rice was doing everything he can to try to keep Thompson for the basketball. Thompson just went after it.
North Carolina playing man-to-man defense, trying to take away those flex cuts.
Rice, a real scoring point guard, but also averaging better than 5 assists per game. Sloppy early. The Eagles, right now, they're down by 5 as we check out their resume and get a very good overall record. They're in. Nobody's disputing that. It's all about seeding. They've got some nice wins, but you're going back to the Vermont and Duquesne losses out of conference.
Yeah, you look at those losses right there. I think there's no question. Anytime you win 9 games in a conference like the ACC, you belong in the tournament. I thought Florida State got a raw deal last year. They have a tough time right now. They're playing without Tony Douglas, and they've lost some tough games.
As mentioned, lost again today to Virginia. How many teams is the ACC going to get, in your opinion, right now?
You know, I thought 8 the other night, but now I think more likely 7. I think they're going to get 7 because then Florida State and Clemson could play themselves out of the game.
Hansbrough doesn't get the bounce. The Tar Heels all over the glass. Dudley with a very clever play to get possession back to BC.
And I'll tell you this, there is no way you can convince me that when you look at the top 65 teams in America, that Florida State is not one of them when they got their full cast. But they're playing without Douglas now, and that's a major loss. The question is, will he come back from that injury?
You can see BC's turned it over now 5 times in their last 6 possessions.
They're telegraphing every pass. Every pass and every movement is really being anticipated by North Carolina. That's also scouting analysis. Their assistants do a great job of helping Roy. Steve Robinson, certainly a guy that's got head coaching experience.
Another offensive rebound. Thompson misses the follow. And they get it back again. Boy, between the turnovers and the rebounding, BC fortunate to be down only 5 as Danny Green is fouled.
And that was the problem against Duke as well. When you're not rebounding on the offensive boards and not defensive boards, you're not playing with a lot of aggressiveness.
Hey, Dick, Judgment of Week presented by Cisco begins on a Monday. Villanova will take on a very good Marquette team. And then Kansas, which blew out Nebraska by 53 today, travels to Manhattan to take on Bob Huggins. And Kansas State also available on ESPN HD.
My friends, I'm telling you now, Rock Chalk Jayhawks come tournament time are going to make a statement. I know they would be embarrassed the last 2 years. That team is too good, too talented, too athletic, and they are an incredibly talented team. And I think they're going to do really a lot better than people are projecting and looking at who may win and end up in Atlanta.
Junior Terrell Blair into the game now for BC. Well, you started off the year picking these Tar Heels to win the national championship. Florida's great, although they lost today to Vanderbilt. You love Kansas. Are you willing to make a pick, or you want to hold off for a while?
No, you know, really right now I'm staying with North Carolina. I don't know why. I got a funny feeling when tournament time comes, these kids are going to play on the defensive side, and they're as good as anybody in terms of talent and depth. You know, Florida's got a great starting 5. But obviously, you saw today, Kevin Stallings does a phenomenal job with Vanderbilt. He used to be on the staff with Roy Williams at Kansas. And his kids, Byers has been sensational with transfer from out of Virginia.
Marshall to Dudley, and that snaps the 11-0 run.
They got to get the ball to Dudley more. Great things happen. I don't buy the double team nonsense. When you're a great player, you got to get yourself free. You got to get yourself free. All the great ones over the years have made that possible. Nice drive right there.
Tyrese Rice with a stutter step.
He explodes to the goal. So underrated. Was not a big-time recruit. Roy Williams told us tonight, hey, not everybody's accurate in their assessment because they obviously missed the boat on that kid.
Well, Al Skinner and his staff getting Troy Bell from Minnesota, Craig Smith from L.A., on it goes.
Tyler Hansbrough inside. So tough when he seals off the defense.
Terrific work inside by Hansbrough to restore a 5-point lead for the Tar Heels. Jared Dudley off to a better start tonight than Wednesday off the sweet feed from Marshall. The marathon man hardly ever comes out of the game. More on Dudley when we come back after this.
I'm Dave Repson with a Sports Center in-game update. Oregon and Stanford Ducks, losers of 4 of 5 coming in. Brooke Lopez is down low for the Cardinal. It is a 50-49 Oregon lead, though, and Baylor leading Texas by 1, although Longhorns just tied it up. Kevin Durant just 3 of 12 from the field, guys.
All right, Dave, thank you. We're back here at Conti Forum, a 5-point lead for Carolina over Boston College. Maybe the hardest working man in college basketball, Jared Dudley. For more on that, here's Aaron.
Dan, he is 14 seconds away for tying BC's career record for minutes played. How many is that? 4,428 minutes. He ties Howard Isley, as you can see there. How does he do it? His coaching staff telling me his passion. It comes easy for him. Playing basketball is not work. He loves it.
He works almost as hard as Eric. Baseball, football, basketball. She's the marathon lady.
That's right.
Yeah, Gator. A little sad today after Vanderbilt put the hurt on her Gators. Ended that winning streak. Now John Calipari and Memphis have the longest winning streak in America.
Big overtime win up in Spokane over Gonzaga in the game that preceded us and the game day guys on ESPN here tonight as Hansbrough completes the three-point play.
Well, you know, it's really interesting there. They lost a lot of key people as well when you think about Memphis losing Sean Williams and Carney and Washington.
Having a terrific year, ranked in the top 10.
Current win streaks, Memphis 15, South Alabama 13, and a team I really like, Greg Marshall's club, Winthrop. Really watch Winthrop.
Boy, they gave Carolina a battle earlier this season.
What about Wisconsin? Lost in overtime to Wisconsin. At Wisconsin, they could flat out shoot the three. Beat Missouri State the other night, shooting that trifecta.
The foul went on Ty Lawson, and Roy Williams didn't like it. They're trying to extend the pressure here. Here comes Hansbrough again. They're trying to trap Rice, take the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, but right there, he does a great job with penetration. I said the key is to stop penetration. That's the old 3D. You drive, you draw, you dish the rock.
Terrell Blair with the dunk. He's getting a lot more minutes since the dismissal of Sean Williams as Brandon Wright knocks down a 12-footer.
Brandon Wright just so effective around the basket. Long, lean, active.
6'9", only about 205 pounds, but with unbelievable skill.
Blair had one of those magical moments back at home against Florida State, blocked 6 shots, and then he hit the winning jump shot from 15 feet. And got a lot of publicity from Bob Ryan, noted columnist in the Boston Globe, who's not here. He's at Daytona with John Saunders, getting ready for the sports reporters.
Well, let's go back to Rice's penetration and Blair the recipient.
There he is. And now he's going to dump it right off here for the layup. Did a great job with penetration. I'll tell you one thing, that's the key in basketball. If you have great dribble penetration, it creates numbers, creates opportunities.
And it was a concern for Carolina coming out of the loss to Virginia Tech. Guys like Lawson and Ellington, could they keep big, strong guards out of the lane? And that's what BC has. They're upperclassmen except for Rice, but guys like Marshall, Dudley, even Rice is pretty well put together.
Telegraphed that pass right there. I think Dudley's got to learn to be a little bit more aggressive and assertive in wanting the basketball. He's the key for this basketball team. If you keep the ball away from him, you really stymie their offensive sets.
Al Skinner said before the game, Dudley gets his within the flow of the offense. And he said the offense just didn't flow against Duke. They never got to the point where they could get to Dudley.
They cut that lead down to 6 and had an opportunity, and Rice had a tough layup.
Thompson.
He can score. Thompson can really score.
Remember the game where Wright was sick, the blowout win against Arizona. Thompson started, had 14 points.
Hey, 6 different players have already scored in this game, showing you the balance.
It's deflected out of bounds. It'll stay with the BC. Well, Jared Dudley coming off the subpar performance against Duke, off to a decent start here tonight. But look at these numbers. These are legit in one of the best conferences in America, and he put up these kinds of numbers, are very close to it, even when he played with Craig Smith last year.
You know, I agree with the RPI saying, for example, the ACC has 9 in the top 40, SEC has 4 in the top 40. I'd rate the ACC as the best conference in America. Try playing in this league. There really aren't any automatics. I don't care if you go to Miami, Wake Forest, there aren't any automatics.
The SEC came into the season as maybe the league people consider to be the best, and the Pac-10 had a great run, but now more and more people are focusing back on the ACC again.
Well, the Pac-10 always wants respect. They talk about it all the time. Washington gets beat today by Pittsburgh. UCLA gets beat by West Virginia. Arizona gets really beat severely by North Carolina. I don't know about you, Dan. If I look at some disappointments, I thought Arizona was going to be sensational. I love that basketball team. They may get themselves going, but they've been a disappointment to me. LSU, I have Tuesday night, lost at home today to Mississippi State. Have been a disappointment. And certainly Washington. I thought Washington was going to be a lot better this year.
Both of these teams having good years. For BC, especially with the loss of Sean Williams. For them to be 9-3 in the ACC, you got to give Al Skinner a lot of credit. As always, Carolina was expected to be one of the best teams in the country. They have been one of the best teams in the country this season, ranked 4th in the nation. Right now, remember the #1 team, Florida, lost earlier today to Vanderbilt, so we'll see some changes at the top. Wide open jumper for Thompson. Gets back his own miss. And we're going to have a foul against BC, I believe, on Tyler Roach.
Earl Walton with the call right there. He definitely got contact.
Judgment of the Week presented by Cisco has some women's action on Tuesday night. Candace Parker and number 3 Tennessee taking on LSU. It's on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. Don't forget, ESPN is the exclusive home for the Women's NCAA Championship.
Hey, you know what I think a key tonight could be also, Dan? The free throw line. When you look at it, both these clubs really go to the line often. You look at Boston College, they've gone to the line 237 more times than their opponents. North Carolina, 216 more times. So both these clubs really rely on getting to the free throw line. And nobody talked about the Duke factor against BC. They went to the line 28 times, and Duke only went 10.
Marshall sits down for Al Skinner. Ellington and Green check out for Carolina. Thompson has been very effective here tonight for the Tar Heels.
Makes that right now, gives them that offensive threat. People wonder where we get all those numbers. The SIDs do a phenomenal job. Steve Kirshner, Dick Kelly here, John Jackson at Duke. They deserve so much more money with the hours they put in. I'll tell you, they are more MVPs, baby, my most valuable players.
How about this stat? Dick, tonight, BC, as they turn it over yet again, unbelievable. They've only made 3 substitutions tonight. Carolina has made 16. Let's go to SportsCenter 30 at 30 with Dave Revson.
Okay, Dan, Kevin Harvick picking up right where he left off. The defending Busch Series champ wins the season-opening Daytona 300. Dave Blaney finishing second in that race. And number 1 goes down, as you guys were talking about, Vandy ending Florida's 17-game win streak. The Doors improved to 6-6 all-time against number 1. More on SportsCenter after the game. ESPN News anytime.
All right, Dave Blair with a terrific block on Tyler Hansbrough. So with Florida losing, who's your new number 1?
My new number 1's got to be very simple. You got to go to Madison, Wisconsin. You got to go to Bill Ryan, Orlando Tucker.
That would be a first for the Badgers. Now numbers for BC. Rice for 3. They needed that one.
He can score. He had 22 against Duke. He put a show on late in the game, gave them energy, gave them a spark. He's just a prolific scorer. He was one in high school. He broke all the records out there in Virginia.
20 or more, 4 straight games. He's got 5 so far tonight. The Eagles back within 4 of the Heels.
For the Eagles to win, they need a big game out of Dudley and out of Rice.
Taken away by Dudley.
And a big game by Dudley doesn't only mean scoring. It means rebounding, occupying people.
Boy, that was a tough catch by Dudley in traffic, and he's heading to the free throw line. Or will be when we come back. BC getting back into it. It started at the defensive end with the block from Terrell Blair.
Yes, look at Blair. He says, "Thou shalt not enter the lane, Mr. Hansbrough." And then Rice says, "I'll finish this baby off with a trifecta. Nothing but nylon."
Our Saturday primetime game coming to you from Conti Forum, the home of the Boston College Eagles, who are down 4 to North Carolina right now. Let's get to more on tonight's game. Here's Erin Andrews again.
Dan, I got a little bit of a secret today from Jared Dudley's mother, Melinda. She told me the reason why her son Jared is so tough because he fears absolutely no one. The reason why, when he was growing up, he looked up to that guy right there on the right of your screen. That's his brother Milan. He's 6 years older, and Milan never let Jared get away with anything. He schooled him on the basketball court. Melinda told me lots of bloody noses, lots of crying, but now, guys, Milan won't play him anymore in basketball. He said the only thing I'll compete with him against is in video games because he will take me to school.
I hope he does those video games, uses EA's college basketball with Brad Nessler and Dick Vitale. I hope he does that. Come on, Dan Schulman. Is he using the EA Sports?
I'll find out.
He better.
Aaron's getting on that right now. 2 free throws for Dudley. He's got 7. Dudley is as tough a customer as they come. And as we mentioned, hardly ever comes out of the game. He's got 2 fouls right now, but that's not really that big of a deal. He's not coming out of the game unless they absolutely have to get him out.
You know, they have 7 turnovers. The difference in a turnover here tonight versus, let's say, Duke with the turnover went the other way and got layups. They're not hurting them the turnover as much like they did against against Duke.
7-1 run for the Eagles. Do you feel that the pace, the tempo right now favors BC, that it's not as quick a game as Roy Williams would like?
Well, Coach Schumann, I thought you handled it really well when you talked about tempo and how North Carolina wants to go Indianapolis Raceway up and down Daytona 500, where they want to play at a Times Square. I mean, he called out, is the bank open? Called Timmy Brown, though, is the bank open?
10 for Dudley, and BC leads.
I guess the super fans getting really going here. They're pushing Hansbrough away from the basket, getting him away from the goal.
Lawson, he'll quiet the crowd with a 3.
And when he makes that shot, he elevates his game. We know his quickness, his penetration ability. Al Skinner was a fighter as a player. Got maximum out of his ability. His strength, when he played in the NBA, ABA, was his defensive ability.
Tyrese Rice with a 3. Answers at the other end.
Play defense, though. He better not be smiling too much. Got to get back on defense.
Good double team on Hansbrough. Trying to muscle his way through it.
I don't know how he ever got that shot off.
Wow.
They double teamed him. They were all over him. Skinner cannot believe it. He's going to earn a trip to the foul line.
And it's number 3 on Dudley.
Oh, that is major. That is major. They're on the inside.
Wow.
I don't know about that third foul. I don't know about that third foul right there on Dudley. That's a big, big moment. Put it down with 6:04 on the clock.
I mean, I guess you credit Hansbrough with making it look like you'd have been fouled, because he went flying. But that's a tough break for the Eagles. 6:04 left in the half. Mark down the time and the score when Dudley had to go to the bench.
Yeah, that was major.
Right inside.
And they're going to attack immediately. Bring the ball into Brandon Wright. He's been an outstanding diaper dandy. You talk about this year, Grant Wall wrote about it in Sports Illustrated. The best freshman class, I think, maybe it's going to be of all time when it's all said and done. You think about Odin, you think certainly about Buttinger, and obviously Durant, but you better factor in guys like Wright as well. And there's so many others all over the country.
Yeah, Mike Conley, DJ Augustine, and the bucket for Rice. He may have to put the team on his back with Dudley on the bench.
He's saying, I wasn't a McDonald's High School All-American. I wasn't heavily recruited. But you know what? It doesn't matter. When you lace them up, you got to come to play. Nice little fake. That left-hander can get to the rack, baby. He's got game. I tell you, he's got game. He's the bomb.
What a little fake.
He's the bomb here, baby. He's the bomb. You're the bomb, too. Little writers walking up to you and tell what a great job you do.
Kids love it when you speak their language, Dick. They love it.
Hey, I saw Mike Lupa could give you a lot of praise tonight.
Yeah, nice man. He's here.
He's in the crowd. His son goes to school. He's a BC. Bob Ryan, Leslie Visser. They're all BC people. Tim Russert, his son goes here.
Ellington left alone. And an offensive rebound for Wright. BC giving Carolina too many second opportunities.
See those long arms Wright has? He's a mini version of Sam Perkins, who played here on the national championship team with a guy by the name of Michael the Magnificent, James Worthy, Jimmy Black.
Quentin Thomas has checked in. We saw Wes Miller before. Roy Williams using everybody at his disposal, but Hansbrough has been the star for Carolina.
He's improved that shot. By the way, Scott Fowler does a great job as a writer from down in Charlotte. Has a book with Jimmy Black about that team that won the national title.
How about the normally mild-mannered Al Skinner getting teed up here tonight? Well, you talked about it Wednesday, and you were exactly right. His demeanor rarely changes, but he is upset with the officiating here tonight.
I think it's a carryover. I think he was frustrated on Wednesday night with their play, defensive effort. As you take a look right here, see he's right here. Now right here, there's the shot. I think it's just a carryover, a lot of frustration, disappointment, packed house, the week they've been all excited about. Duke, North Carolina. They went down by 24 against Duke before making a run.
You got to call it. You got to call it. I don't know exactly what it was he wanted them to call, but very frustrated with Dudley's third foul.
the master in using the technical in a positive way was right here in this city. Arnold Red Auerbach, when he was coaching the Celtics, the late redhead, he had a masterful way to use that technical to motivate his kids.
Roach. The long arms of Brandon Wright with the 7'4" wingspan. Thomas, nice look. Green wide open for three. And it'll stay with Carolina as we go to Aaron Andrews.
Dan, remember, heading into today's game, Brandon Wright was questionable. He injured his shoulder on Thursday in practice, didn't even touch the floor on Friday. He was shooting around this morning. Roy Williams said when he went down in practice, it reminded him of back in 2003 in Kansas. Wayne Simeon popped his shoulder out of the joint, and that impacted Kansas not being able to win the national championship. Luckily, Wright is back.
Yeah, Wright is a lefty. It was his right shoulder that was injured in Thursday's practice. It appeared to be minor even after last night. Roy Williams saying, well, he wouldn't have played had the game been last night.
Trying to get a little clear out here on the side for Rice. Thomas playing him.
I think we got a call going against Carolina, and the Dolphins will have a Bronx cheer here in Boston.
Carl Hess with the call.
Britton Thomas with the foul. If you're a BC fan, you're thinking about just getting to the break so you can get Dudley back out there in the second half as Lawson comes back in. The revolving door continues for the Tar Heels. Roy Williams using everybody at his disposal.
That's not to me. That doesn't shock me. They've been doing that all year. I mean, they're a very deep basketball team, and he goes to his bench. Some clubs play 7 or 8 guys. Some clubs don't. For years, Duke never went to the bench, and they were very effective. So I'm not convinced that really has an effect on a game.
Can you have too many? Can you?
Yeah, it could break your rhythm. It could break your timing. It can get kids where they're not really into the flow because they're coming in and out of the game.
Tyrese Rice now with a dozen.
That's a good question. I'm really impressed, Dan. You may get another game.
Wow. Now, folks, you see how it works behind the scenes. Wright being defended by Oates.
Nice high low.
Yeah, Hansbrough in a good position, and a foul on Spears. And they are livid here in Chestnut Hill.
Well, he fouled him right there. They definitely bumped him. Good call by Carl Hess.
Al Skinner was upset early. Dudley's got 3 fouls. Coach Skinner got teed up here tonight. Will that fire up the Eagles here against the Heels? This telecast is available in stunning high definition on ESPN HD. Historic Faneuil Hall in downtown Boston. Welcome back to Conti Forum. We're a ways west, a little bit west of downtown. Good game here. Carolina, BC, tied at 33. Hall of Fame nominee Dick Vitale, along with Dan Shulman. Let's talk about the ACC and the significance of this game for these two teams.
Well, you know, they're battling for first place, and the conference is so tied up on top. Virginia, with that great backcourt, has been outstanding. Singletary and J.R. Reynolds been sort of a surprise. And Dowdell, if I had to pick an all-ACC team, you better have Xavier and Dowdell. Just ask North Carolina for 33 on the board.
Well, you did pick an all-ACC team. We're going to show that at some point tonight. Is there one guy? Could you pick an ACC player of the year right now, or is it still too early?
I would give my choice right now to Jared Dudley unless he really flops. In fact, if I do my VBDI on Monday, my top 4 players in the country, I go Tucker, Durant, Fazekas, and Dudley in that order. I change every Monday. Now, he has to come out stronger in the second half.
Tyrese Rice has scored 10 points in the last 4.5 minutes. Out of control on that drive. Maybe trying to do a little bit too much with Dudley anchored to the bench.
You know, the question some people were asking me earlier, is North Carolina still a #1 seed? I think they are. They got 9 wins over teams in the top 50. They beat Ohio State, Kentucky, Arizona, Duke, Tennessee, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Winthrop.
So Carolina, Florida, Ohio State, Wisconsin, would those be your top 4 right now? Or is UCLA?
I got UCLA and Wisconsin. However, Wisconsin could be #1, but next week they got a date down in Buckeye Land,
right.
And I give the edge to the Buckeyes at home. I think the Buckeyes will be able to beat them at home.
What ability Brandon Wright has. What a catch, and then what a gather and finish for the freshman.
He's so big, as you said earlier, so long with that 7'6" wingspan, so active inside.
Looking inside, Sean Marshall, 6'5" senior, turnaround jumper, no.
Marshall's
rebound of Carolina.
He's Mr. Durability, just comes to play, very tenacious, good ball movement. Excellent.
Ellington drops in the 3. Carolina on a run with Dudley on the bench.
Great job of reversing the basketball, getting it to your shooter. Ellington, who played in high school along with certainly Henderson down there at Duke. They played at Episcopal Academy out of Marion, Pennsylvania.
7-0 run right now for the Heels. 3 from the wing for Marquez Haynes, the sophomore out of Irving, Texas.
Irving, Texas, the home of the Dallas Cowboys, took his team to the semifinals in high school basketball. He's a combo guard.
Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with the Heels. Here come 2 more subs. Frazier's back in. Thompson's back in.
Remember, it was 29-28 Boston College with 6:04 when he left.
Yep.
And he got his 3rd foul.
Marshall's another guy that BC could really use to step up. He's only got 2 points tonight. He's averaging 15, and he had a terrific game on Wednesday when you saw him 23 against Duke.
What a great play. Execution there. Throwing a high lob. I'll tell you, I love Brandon Wright's game.
He's got 8 tonight. Wait till he puts 10, 15 more pounds on it. Becomes a little bit stronger.
But you know what I like about him, Dan? He understands his strengths and he understands his deficiencies. He has to work a little bit more in that free throw line.
Rice trying to shake a couple of Carolina defenders inside the final 2 minutes of the first half. Rice played alongside or behind Lewis Hinnon last year. An underappreciated point guard. Marshall, nice dump down. Spears could not handle it.
Got to catch that and you got to convert. They really changed their complexion. Last year they were a power team inside to Greg Smith. This year they're more a penetration off Rice.
Lawson to Wright, freshman to freshman. How bright is the future? And now Ellington, let's not forget about him.
I'll tell you, there's another diaper dandy who can flat out shoot it. He's got the great rotation. You talk about Ellington, I'm telling you, he's the Duke of the trifecta.
Freshmen have scored 50% of Carolina's points this year, averaging 44 points per game.
Came in with a big reputation. All 3 were charted and rated by Bob Gibbons, who does a great job in the top 10 in America.
Haynes with a great drive, but he missed the layup. Count the follow for Blair.
Blair with a good offensive rebound on the conversion inside. They're hanging around without their star. They're super fans. They love it. What a beautiful campus here. Gene DeFilippo, the AD, and all the people here do a great job. Now look at him standing. He's battling inside, getting a lot of minutes with Sean Williams not in the lineup.
That's big time. That was Hansbrough and Wright down there. Blair, a really important player for them, with Sean Williams dismissed from the program. One of the great shot blockers in America. Blair's picking up a lot of his minutes.
Well, I agree with Mike Lupick here. He said earlier that he thought that he was the best shot blocker he's seen in many a year, and I agree. But you know, you got to be accountable for your actions and responsible as
what a stroke Wayne Ellington has.
You know, what really bothers me with a kid when you think about Williams, he had chance after chance, and he finally lets everybody down, his family, his teammates, but most of all himself. And that really was sad.
Rice doesn't get the bounce. Wright the rebound. And we've got about a 2.5-second difference between game clock and shot clock. Roy Williams will use a timeout. Carolina on the road, up 6 on a BC.
ESPN and college basketball, baby.
Getting close to the UPS halftime report with Reese Davis, Jay Billis, Jigger Phelps, Hubert Davis, all here on site. Just up behind us here at the Conti Forum, getting ready for the halftime show. Among the stories they'll cover, Vandy takes down #1. They get the Gators today. The Zags go overtime in Spokane with Memphis. And has Arizona, have they conceivably fallen onto the bubble with their struggles?
I think there's no question they'll be part of the tournament. Lute Olson will get them resurrected, and they'll be back, and they'll be in the tournament. They played a tough pre-conference schedule. Smart play right now. They're going to really try to go in at halftime with a 6-point lead for sure, but maybe get it up to 8 or 9.
Nice look. Frazier to Green. Terry. Ball still alive as it hits the rim as time expires. BC down by 6. Jared Dudley sat out the last 6 minutes of the first half after picking up his 3rd foul. Hansbrough and Carolina took advantage to lead by 6 at the break. We're at halftime of the Saturday primetime game presented by DirecTV, and we'll be back with the UPS halftime report after this.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Pontiac, the official performance machines of the NCAA, and LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. This is the UPS Halftime Report.
Two teams fighting for at least a share of first place in the ACC. North Carolina with a 44-38 lead. Solid offensive display from both teams in the first half. Glad to have you along on the UPS Halftime Report. Reese Davis, Hubert Davis, Digger Phelps, Jay Billis here. Guys, nation's longest winning streak coming into the day. Florida had ripped off 17 in a row, as predicted by Richard Digger Phelps, who smelled the upset for Kevin Stallings' team. Alex Gordon was feeling it, Hubert.
Well, he was. He was shooting threes from all over the place, and you look at Vanderbilt moving so well offensively. They got whatever they wanted.
You see Kevin Stallings holding the ball, won't give it up to Noah here.
Well, not a great move by Kevin Stallings. Not really that big of a deal, and it certainly didn't motivate Florida enough because Vanderbilt was more physical on defense. They doubled the post. They doubled off ball screens. They were great defensively.
Hey, Derek Byers had 24 points. He finds Ted Scoot just there, 9-point lead. They stormed the court. That's going to cost them money. You get fined in the SEC for storming the court. Vanderbilt doesn't care. They're on their way to the tournament,
yes,
right?
They are. This is a big schedule of what you call a resume win.
And yet another one is Vanderbilt pushing for the 20-win mark as well. Memphis and Gonzaga. Cal and the Tigers on a 14-game winning streak. Digger thought there was no way Gonzaga could hang with his powerful Memphis team. Joey Dorsey along for the stuff.
Yeah. Well, Joey Dorsey's a guy that was all over the offensive.
Fargo! Thank you very much. Take that, Digger. You didn't think the Zags could hang? Fargo, turnaround jumper, ties the game at 69. They go to overtime. And how about this drive, Digger, by Chris Douglas Roberts?
Douglas makes one great move and gets fouled. What a three-point play. Yes, it's good. John, sit down. It's good.
1-point lead for Memphis. Final kicks of overtime. Douglas Roberts couldn't get the free throw. Fargo on the run. Fargo for the game. Memphis hangs on. They extend their winning streak to 15. Now the longest in the nation. 78-77 the final. Washington and Pitt. John Brockman, the Huskies, gave the Panthers all kind of trouble.
Yeah, they really have a nice front line. When you look at Spencer Hawes, he had 12 points and 12 rebounds. I thought outplayed Aaron Gray of Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh hasn't been shooting it well, Jay, but Levance Fields hit a big one.
Levance Fields wound up with 14 points, 4 rebounds in a game where Pittsburgh didn't play well offensively. Their defense carried him through.
Pittsburgh was just 4 of 15 from 3. Spencer Hawes, a little hook shot over Sam Young, and then Aaron Gray was over the 1,000-point mark there for Pittsburgh. Up 3, they go on to win it 65-61. UCLA and Arizona, and what a day for Darren Collison. He would find Aaron Aflalo.
That does find Aaron Aflalo, but how about 15 assists as he had 17 points? He's the difference in this team.
Just one off the school record. Josh Shipp, big day.
Josh Shipp played a terrific game, got out in transition, but I thought UCLA's defense was the difference. They made Arizona play everything one-on-one.
UCLA got 6 points off the bench, all of them coming from Michael Roll, who hit a couple of threes. Van Allen's team has now beaten Arizona 5 straight times. Shipp leading the way with 24. Stanford beats up on Oregon. Oregon still hasn't won in Palo Alto since 1986.
No Aaron Brooks. You don't see any points. He's in a drought. That's the difference in their team.
Indiana and Michigan. Hoosiers down 1, and here goes Mike White.
Well, you look at Michigan. They needed this win in order to have a chance to get into the NCAA tournament. Their seniors, Deion Harris and Courtney Sims, I thought really stepped up to win this basketball game.
They thought things might be slipping away, but Jared Smith, the drive, Wolverines up by 3. Lance Stemler's going to try to get it to DJ White, but not in time. And Michigan, much needed victory.
Yes, they need it, but Indiana 11 for 18 on the free throw line. When you're on the road, lose by 3, that's the difference.
58-55, Deion Harris with 16. Richard Hendricks goes 16-9. Much needed resume win for Alabama.
That was a huge win for Alabama, especially because Kentucky has been so successful at Coleman Coliseum, but Kentucky only had 1 field goal in the first 10 minutes of the first half.
Alabama led from the tip-off to the end of the game, and they held on for the 11-point win. When we continue on the UPS Halftime Report, Bracket Busters Saturday, and a couple of Bracket Busters look big time.
This Halftime Report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you? This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Bracket Buster Saturday. A couple of teams playing for seeds. Chris Lowry in Southern Illinois going for their 9th straight win against Butler. A.J. Graves faked. Pete Campbell had a big day, Jay.
Campbell only averages 9 points per game. He had 17 against Southern Illinois, 5 of 9 from 3 for the big guy.
And how good is Jamal Tatum?
Jamal Tatum is an outstanding player. 20 points, he can get his own shot, but defensively, he really held down A.J. Graves. I thought his defense was the difference in the game.
Closing seconds, Mike Green lost his dribble. Southern Illinois wins it by 4. They snap Butler's 22-game home court winning streak at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Northern Illinois gets, Northern Iowa gets blitzed by Nevada. Appalachian State with a 2-point win on the road at Wichita.
Appalachian State is a good team. Dante Minter, originally at Virginia, transferred in to play for Houston Fancher, and DJ Thompson, an outstanding little guard, made a big shot in this game to win it.
Virginia Commonwealth has been strong in the Colonial Athletic Association, but they couldn't handle Bradley, 73-64. ACC battle going on behind us in Conti Forum right now. Tar Heels with a 6-point lead. Both teams shooting well over 50%. What adjustments do you expect in the second half?
Well, I like North Carolina in large part. I think they've done a good job of keeping Tyrese Rice out of the middle. They have to commit to double teaming him because he's just too good when he gets in there. He involves everybody. And offensively, they just need to throw the ball down low in the post. They've got Shamari Spears, Johnny Oatscroll, and Tyler Hansbrough and Brandon Wright. The play is throw the ball down low.
I thought the key was when Gerard Dudley got his 3rd foul with 6 minutes left in the half. That's where Carolina sort of opened it up. You may have to come out and see a little 2-3 zone to protect Dudley because they need him in the game to do the job. They got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. Too many turnovers and more defense stopping points in the paint.
Have to contain Tyrese Rice off the dribble, and you have to pound the ball inside. Jared Dudley's got 3 fouls. He's not going to be able to be as aggressive, especially at the start of the second half. That ball has got to go into the paint to Hansbrough and Wright. Wright is scoring at will.
They've had big first halves. North Carolina's played solid on offense. They've had the revolving door of substitution. A 6-point lead. I'm sorry, who was the ball supposed to go to in the second half, Hubert?
Tyler Hansbrough.
Jay, what did get it inside?
I think that's a good call.
Plus 6. Tar Heels at the break.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
Let's go! Come on! Drive, slam, full court, pressure, 3-point shot, all net. Yes, you all that. Yes, you all that. Yes, you all that. Yes, you all that. Yes.
Well, we expected a lot of intensity, and we've gotten it here tonight. Both teams coming off losses. Welcome to Saturday Primetime, presented by DirecTV. A sellout here in Chestnut Hill. 44-38 Carolina over BC. Maybe the key play of that first half, Dick, the 3rd foul on Jared Dudley. BC was up 1 when he got the 3rd foul, down 6 right now.
Well, certainly there's no question that was a big call. I thought it was a bad call. I thought it was a simple double team, and I don't think you make that call in that sequence. I mean, his hands are up in the air. They got him on a little push on a double team, and he got picked up his 3rd with 6:04. He's the star. He's the catalyst, and that was really big for North Carolina. You know what's really amazing? 2 games in a row. They're down against Duke, and they're down against North Carolina. They shot 58% against Duke at halftime. Tonight, shooting 59%, and they're losing. They just aren't getting many shots. Yep. That's the problem.
Turned the ball over and also gave up way too many offensive rebounds, allowing Carolina a lot of second opportunities. Tyrese Rice had that stretch near the end of the first half where he kept BC in this game.
You know, you mentioned offensive rebounds, better than a 2-to-1 ratio for North Carolina. The advantage.
They missed their first look. Carolina back quickly. Wright lays it in. That's what Roy Williams wants to see.
That's run, baby, run. That's North Carolina style. The transition game. Fill the lane. Find the trailer. Take a look at them getting out. That big fella can really run the break. And look at Lawson with the great eyes. Right down the gut. Moving without the ball. Brandon Wright. Sensational play.
John Oates with a foul for Boston College, and all of a sudden the lead for Carolina is up to 9.
You know, Roy would like to have had that play against Virginia Tech. Those two guys inside, Hansbrough and Wright against Virginia Tech and Seth Greenberg's club, they were 7 for 17 the entire game. Tonight they're already 10 for 15.
You know, you talk about your under-the-radar success stories across the country. Virginia Tech's got to be on that list.
Well, especially the way they started the season, losing to Marshall, George Washington, Western Michigan. They got 2 wins over Duke. They beat Carolina at Carolina. They beat them at home.
Virginia Tech's 8-3 in the league. So is Carolina. BC and Virginia are both 9-3. Nice little fake there by Hansbrough. Can he get a shot off? Through all that traffic he did, but somebody blocked it.
You know, you mentioned beating Carolina twice is quite an achievement, and also that win over Duke.
Whoa! Baseline drive, Sean Marshall.
Nobody rotated over. Marshall got to the goal, had 23 points against Duke, only had 2 at halftime.
You know, one thing about the BC players, and it may come from the fact that none of them were that highly recruited. They all play with a little chip on their shoulder. This is a tough group. Nice stroke again. Boy, Ellington is smooth.
He can really shoot it. I know they play with a little chip on their shoulder and they execute, and they're players that get better and better. But when it's all said and done, talent usually rises to the top, especially when they're well coached. And North Carolina is so well coached.
How much do you think they miss Sean Williams, the Eagles?
Oh, big time. He takes away anything on the inside. He says, thou shalt not enter the lane when he's playing there.
Dudley enters the lane and banks it home. He's got a dozen.
I would attack Dudley right now. If I'm North Carolina, wherever he is on the floor, we're going to try to get number 4 on him.
Ellington off a screen, little pass fake, left-hand scoop shot.
He's playing well. Howard Garfinkel told me a long time ago how much he loved the combination of Lawson and Ellington. We sometimes forget these are freshmen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. It's in the end of the season. They're still in their first year academically, getting to the adjustment of life on a college campus.
Shamari Spears very quiet tonight, as he was Wednesday against Duke as well. Nice speed, though, into Dudley, and Terry's called for the foul.
What a terrific pass by Spears, who's the second leading scorer at Blair Academy behind Luau Dang, who was number 1, and Charles Villanueva was number 3. Take a look at this pass right here. He gets the great angle. He gets the great lead. He leads him right to the proper hand, to the baseline side, and Dudley knows how to finish. He's really such a complete forward. I think when you talk All-Americans, you have to look what he's done all year long, and you can't just look at the bad performance against Duke.
Let's get more with Aaron.
Dan, as you can imagine, for Boston College during the half, rebounding was a topic of discussion. UNC out-rebounding them 17-8. That tells the story there. Also, for Jared Dudley, the BC coaching staff told me we don't have much depth. So because he has 3 fouls, we have to play him. He's a smart guy, and they trust him, Dan.
I think that's a smart move. You can't keep him on the bench, not against a team like North Carolina who can get away from you.
Ellington gets free, misses the shot over the backboard, BC ball.
You know, Dudley's starting to close in on 2,000 career points. Troy Bell leads the pack with 2,632 points.
You know, this chance when it's all said and done, that Troy Bell, Craig Smith, and Jared Dudley will be 3 of the top 4 scorers in BC history. And again, all under-the-radar recruits from all over the country in the Al Skinner era. Marshall wide open. Spears had it blocked, got it back.
Strong inside. Power starting to rebound a lot better. Coaching staff talking, you know, rebounding is positioning and it's toughness and it's a desire. Moses Malone had the best. He used a rebound from the minute he came out of the locker room.
A quick 5-0 run for the Eagles ends right there. What a reverse by Lawson.
He's incredible with his driving ability and his quickness and penetration gift.
Lawson with 7.
He is so explosive.
Marshall going right to the rim, offensive foul.
A little bit out of control. He was determined, and once he left his feet, he was susceptible to the charge.
Wants to pick it up after a very quiet first half. Let's take another look. That sure looked like Green was there. He was waiting for him.
Right now, I'd go inside the Hansbrough. I would get him some touches on a box inside.
Remember, he took advantage of Spears a couple of times early in this game.
That's what I'm saying with the size mismatch. Dump it inside.
They're trying. They're looking.
Gotta hesitate. He had post position and missed him.
He'll step out. They'll put it on the floor, absorb the bump, and finish strong. Good call, Coach.
Got to get him the ball. Got to bring it inside to him. He's got an M&M or a mismatch on the interior.
The crowd getting back into it. They were taken out of the game against Duke Wednesday because Duke's lead went up to 24.
65-41. They made that gallant effort to come back, cut it to 6.
Marshall by Ellington. Floater, yes.
Nice play by Marshall. A little bit more assertive here in the second half. They need points out of Marshall. They need a defensive stop.
For Hansbrough, knocked away, and the Eagles have it.
That was a Marconi special. That was telegraphed. You could see that coming from here. I saw with one eye. I could figure that baby out.
Rice slows it down as he brings it up the floor.
Got to go to Dudley right here. Got to go to Dudley. He's playing against Terry right now. I bring the ball into Dudley. He's going to go to the low post. He loves the post inside.
Terrific offensive rebounder for a guy his size as well. Rice had it blocked into the hands of Spears. And Carolina comes up with it. It's Rayshon Terry. Numbers for the Heels. It's a 4-on-1, and they turn it over.
Poor job on the other side, executing by Boston College. Really not a good job. We covered a little bit in defensive transition. Here it is. Oh, it's a little fumbleitis. That's a fumble. Oh, Nelly, a fumble.
Well, Ty Lawson, part of a spectacular freshman class for Carolina, maybe as good as any in the nation. What an unbelievable move, eluding 6'10" John Oates on his way for the scoop reverse. He was considered to be maybe the best freshman point guard, maybe the best point guard in the incoming freshman class, and he's had a terrific season for the
I'll tell you one thing you talk about him as you look here at the threesome, Wright, Ellington, and Lawson. Look at the percentage of teams' total points this year. Came in heralded. They certainly have lived up to it. I'll tell you, there's some great point guards, though. Diaper dandies. Michael Conley is sensational at Ohio State. Think about DJ Augustine. I love him down at Texas.
Turnover as Dudley's pass goes around.
Ellington is such a great shooter when he squares his body. Taking a look right here. Look at the form. Look at the follow through. Look at the rotation. He looks a little bit like the kid from Cabin Creek, West Virginia, shooting the Jay. What was his name? Jerry.
Off the knee of Terry, out of bounds, and back to the Eagles. Some guys just have that stroke. When they let it go, you think it's going in every single time.
But he's got a long way to go to be a great one. He still has to learn some of the other parts of the game. Chris Muller was that way, nominated for the Hall of Fame. One of the best shooters I ever saw. Steve Alford was another terrific shooter.
Marshall spins into the double team. And Blair loses it out of bounds, but it stays with the BC. 18 on the shot clock.
Saw a pretty good shooter last year, too, by the name of J.J. Redick at Duke. Now starting to get some minutes with Orlando. Imagine.
Rice and Lawson, what a good matchup this has been at the point guard slot.
They've done a great job, I think, keeping the ball away as much as they can from Dudley.
Marshall starting to take matters into his own hands more in the second half.
He's doing a great job with dribble penetration, getting into that 3-second area and going up under control, squaring his body, knocking down the open jumper.
Hansbrough.
Double up.
And a foul. And it's going to go on Oates, I believe, as we go back to a replay of the other end of Marshall's drive.
Well, he gets it out of triple threat position. He squares, faces the basket. For you young kids, you can either shoot, drive, or pass when you get into triple threat position. Hey, Dad, I want to wish the best to a guy you and I know. Terrific guy, Joe Nuxall, battling cancer, broadcaster, Cincinnati Reds. In fact, mentioned the Reds, Marty Brenneman, a North Carolina graduate. Right. I'm sure he's cheering for his Tar Heels, but we wish you the best, Joe. Just keep fighting and fighting. And also great news, Jim O'Connell is home from the hospital. And Jim, got to see you at a basketball game. Dick Hoops Weiss is here, and Jim are two of the guys that have such a passion and love for college basketball.
Hoping to see Jim O'Connell at the Big East tournament during championship week in a few weeks.
He'll be there.
Hansbrough at the line, knocked him down. He shot 18 free throws in the loss to Virginia Tech on Tuesday, made 14 of them.
He does a great job of getting fouled. He works so hard in the post, uses his body so well. That's a charge. That's a charge. Good call right there. Carl Hess with a good call.
Ty Lawson called for the foul. Tyrese Rice takes the charge. It's Judgment Week presented by Cisco. Beginning on a Monday, it'll start in the Big East. Good one between Villanova and Marquette. The Wildcats coming off a tough loss to Georgetown today. Then Kansas and Kansas State at 9 Eastern. Also available in high definition on ESPN HD. K-State defeated Iowa State earlier on tonight.
Hey, you watch those Hoyas getting better and better. They've won 9 in a row. John Thompson III, a rising star in the coaching fraternity.
And I'll tell you, Jeff Green is playing some phenomenal basketball right now. He's putting himself into the mix for Big East Player of the Year.
Coming on strong. Working hard defensively right now in North Carolina, trying to take away. See, I think the dribble's a little bit too much. Yeah. Rice controlling the ball.
Dudley knocks down the jumper. There's an example. They didn't run anything for him. They didn't get him the ball. He found it, knocked down a shot.
Well, that's what big stars are supposed to do. That's why you're a PTPer. You got to find ways to make plays happen. All the great ones did.
A lot of traffic inside. Terry finishes strong for the Heels.
He's been very quiet, Terry.
Rayshon Terry, the senior who averaged better than 14 points per game last year. His numbers down this year with all these freshmen getting a lot of minutes and showing how good they are offensively.
Well, you know, he demonstrated last year that he can play. A lot of people didn't know it, as well as David Noel's now in the NBA.
Rice, the scoop.
He's got such acrobatic ability. He has that incredible ability to get to the basket, loves to score. You got to give him flexibility and allow him that. Sometimes he's going to take bad shots now.
You're talking about a sophomore listed at 6'1", averaging 17 points per game and leading the conference in assists. Boy, what a scrum under the bucket.
They got Marshall. Got to get him the ball. Got to get him the ball. Oh, they're rocking and rolling. Look how quick Carolina brings the ball back up. He got fouled.
Blair from behind got Lawson. The Eagles are right back in the game, Dick. They've had themselves a good second half. First it was Jared Dudley coming up with a loose ball on the baseline, knocking down the jumper, and then Tyrese Rice with another magnificent move.
Well, you know, Rice and Dudley have 31 and 57 points. Better than 50% of their points. It's 2 points. Call your friends up.
Dave Refson with the Sports Center in-game update. Baylor and Texas Bears down 1 with a chance to win it. Curtis Gerals gets it over to Mark Shepard, who puts it up, cannot get it to go, and Texas hangs on for the road win. Louisville and Marquette. Louisville got an impressive road win earlier in the week at Pitt. They're up 3 in this one, and Oregon continues to falter. Stanford beat them by 19.
Now, Dave, time now for our game track brought to you by Starter. A 2-point lead for Carolina midway through the second half here at BC. Tyler Hansbrough having a nice game, 17 points, although they're making him work awfully hard here in the second half. Jared Dudley, Dick, despite foul trouble, making the most of his opportunities.
Well, you know, think about this with Boston College. They're on the short end right now, but they're shooting close to 60%, 59.5% up to this point. That's incredible.
Hansbrough on the bench. Dudley in there with 3 fouls. Picked up his 3rd foul with 6:04. If you weren't with us earlier, with 6:04 to go in the first half, BC was up 1 at that point. He sat out the last 6:04 of the first half. BC was down 6 at halftime.
Well, they rotate different bodies on him. They got Green playing him right now, and he's trying to post on him. He got fouled.
And Wright reached in to help. Will it go on Wright or will it go on Green? It'll be Brandon Wright picking up the foul.
You know what I like in this game versus the game against Duke? He really wants the ball. He's really making an effort to get free. He did not do that. I thought maybe he was pouting a little bit because he was frustrated. Things weren't going well. But he's come out here with a spark tonight, and you expected that. You can't be as good as he's been all year and not respond in a positive way.
Now they got a big guy on him in Deion Thompson. Marshall!
He's feeling it. He's feeling it. He has been big here in the second half.
10 of his 12 in the second half. Now they got it back.
You know what I like about Dudley? He told Aaron Andrews that I really feel bad. I let my teammates down. So he's really been accountable for his performance, and I love that about him. Take a look at Marshall right now, little one-on-one. He faces triple threat position. He said, this time I'm not going to drive, I'm going to shoot the rock. He's going to shoot the rock right in your grill. Here it goes. He's shooting the rock, baby. Over that long arm.
Remember, these Eagles beat Carolina twice last year, once at the Dean Dome, once on a neutral court in the ACC tournament. And also remember, both Marshall and Dudley are seniors. There may be an added sense of urgency for them to win this game after the loss Wednesday. Bad pass there by Marshall. Stepped out of bounds right in front of us.
Oh, that's right there. Also lost that heartbreaking game in the NCAA tournament last year to Villanova.
That's right. More on Marshall now with Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
Dan, in the past, when Sean Marshall wasn't shooting well, he would tend to get down on himself mentally. That is something he's been trying to change. And now when he finds himself in a slump, he will try to bring energy to the team, play D, and do some other things that are very helpful. And he told me today that is what helps him get out of the slump.
Yeah, he admitted that he feels he's matured even between his junior season and his senior season. Doesn't pout, doesn't get down as much this year. Nice feed to Dudley to tie the game.
Great pass inside. Good look. This place is alive. Call your friends up. Who's going to get the L tonight? Will North Carolina have a tough week losing to Virginia Tech and the BC? He says no, Mr. Terry.
Rayshawn Terry off the feed from Ty Lawson.
You know, both these clubs trying to avoid losing 2 games in a row, battling for ACC supremacy.
You've got 4 teams really battling for top spot in the ACC. These two, Virginia Tech and Virginia.
Shows that balance. John Swofford should be mighty proud of the ACC. Freddie Barricade, a great guy who's retiring, one of the real key catalysts.
How good is this guy?
Right to the basket. Nobody checked him and closed off his angle.
16 for Rice, and Lawson says, anything you can do, I can do better.
He can do it better, he says. I go coast to coast. How's that for quickness and speed? One electrifying play after another.
He becomes the 4th Tar Heel to go into double figures here tonight. Oh, this is a good one.
Yes, sir. That's why I love college basketball. That's why I act like about 12.
Again, Marshall into Dudley. Right with a block.
Right rotated over. Great help.
Good defense at the other end by Sean Marshall.
We're going to watch Rice taking it to the goal. Take a look at Rice right now. He attacks the basket. Nobody rotates over it, and he scores. And now he says, hey, anything you can do, Mr. Rice. As Dan Schumann said, I can do it a little bit better. Look at that rotation. Get that backspin right on the glass.
Well, this game's going to get up into the 80s, maybe close to 90. You'd figure that was North Carolina. You'd figure, but here's BC hanging around, down only 3. Wright's 10-footer, make it 5.
He's so pretty when he shoots that 12, 14-foot jump shot.
And the wingspan on defense for Wright as well.
He made a great block on Dudley.
Blair. Marshall has it knocked away by Hansbrough. Numbers. Terry, no. Crowd wants a walk on Hansbrough.
Williams there, a little Barishnikov. He made it on that sideline like Luke 22nd.
Time now for a Sports Center 30 at 30 with Dave Refson.
And Kevin Harvick picking up right where he left off. The defending Busch Series champ wins the season opening Daytona 300. Dave Blaney finishing 2nd in that race. And number 1 going down in college hoops. Vandy ends Florida's 17-game win streak. The Commodores improved to 6-6 all-time against number 1. More on Sports Center after the game. ESPN News anytime.
So Dave, number 1 loses, number 4 getting a battle here from BC. Bodies on the floor, and the foul is going to go on Blair of the Eagles. The crowd is fired up. The players are fired up. We saw Al Skinner get teed up in the first half. Now Roy Williams is getting fired up, Dickie V.
Look at the intensity, the passion. We saw it out of the Coach King on the sideline here the other night. Look at the Hall of Famer to be.
There ain't nobody hot as us up in your spot. Giving it to you play by play and shot for shot. ESPN is in the house, it's about to pop. The NCAA has got the game on lock, and we can't be stopped.
Well, so much history, so much sports history in this great town. Boston, one of the great cities in America, and you've put together your Super Six.
Hey, not a bad six. I think about Bird, Brady, my favorite, Mr. Cousy, number 14, or Russell, the biggest winner. And what about Ted Williams with his unbelievable bat?
Now, this guy wouldn't make that list, but boy, did he make some fans in his time at the BC. Doug Flutie, Heisman Trophy winner.
Hey, I expect him to have better seats than that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? His beautiful wife in the house with him. He's got to get better seats than that. A Heisman Trophy winner.
All these years later, they still love him.
I can't believe it. Mike Lupica gets better seats than him. I can't believe that. Flutie, you better complain to the AD, Mr. DeFilippo. You got to get better seats, Dougie. I mean, Lupica's got better seats. Bob Ryan gets better seats. I'm really upset now. I am upset that Doug Flutie, a Heisman Trophy winner, doesn't get better seats.
So go sit up there and send him down here into your seat.
He should. He does a great job with us now in ABC Sports. John Saunders does a phenomenal job. They're down there at the Daytona now for their Sports Reporters show.
5-point lead for Carolina, 7:27 to go. The high score in the game, Jared Dudley of the Eagles. He's got 19. Leading scorer for the Tar Heels, Hansbrough, with 17.
You know, Dan, real danger time right now for Boston College. They got to really come up with some stops here. They can't allow North Carolina to go on a little spurt.
Right, looking inside for Hansbrough. Too much traffic. Lawson for three.
See, some people would question about depth. I don't think depth is a factor because Boston College has never been a deep team. They won 9 games in a conference coming into this week without that being a factor, so why make a factor out of it now?
They're playing 3 players more than 30 minutes per game, led by Dudley's 38. Carolina's not playing anybody more than 30 minutes per game this year.
You can look at it, nice post move. Terrific. He inverts really well. He takes his guards. He can bring them to the post. Al Skinner utilizes them very effectively.
Monster second half for Marshall, a dozen since the break.
North Carolina's had an answer there every time they made a big play. North Carolina's come back with one.
Out of bounds to the Eagles.
They're going to take advantage of that defensive effort. Boy, Williams all fired up. Race post move inside. Now watch this as he's going to get the ball down in the box. Great drop step. He uses the reverse. Goes right to the basket. Right over the top foot. He's really hungry right now, Marshall. Really hungry.
We've seen Dudley feed Marshall inside, and we've seen Marshall feed Dudley inside tonight.
And this guy certainly can break down a defensive player with his dribble penetration. He's got you on your heels at every moment.
Shot clock under 10.
Trying to run a double screen for Dudley.
Rice, the deep three from the wing.
I don't like the way he shoots that three. I really don't. I don't feel it's going in. I know he's been effective. He's more effective going to the basket.
Agreed. Hansbrough driving on Blair. Blair altered the shot.
Did a great job. The last 2 possessions, BC's done a terrific job defensively.
Tough one by Rice. Not a good shot there. But coming up with the loose ball, Mr. Everything here in the second half, Sean Marshall.
I'll tell you, Marshall really playing his heart out. He's doing everything he can to try to get to the winner's circle. North Carolina hasn't lost 2 games in a row all season. Look at Marshall right here. Medium range jump shot. Here he gets into the 3-second area on dribble penetration. And he shows the trifecta from down deep. Very effective. Almost as effective as all our people like Dan Steer and Doug Holmes and all our camera guys, Timmy and everybody. We work with a phenomenal bunch of people.
And Aaron really Andrews, who has more. Aaron?
And Sean Marshall playing with a chip on his shoulder tonight, particularly in the second half. He was telling me, even before the season started, all we heard about was UNC, UNC, UNC. He said, does anyone remember we beat them twice last year? We feel we're at the same level. This guy right here is showing it tonight.
I'll tell you one thing, that's the kind of attitude you'd like to have. Certainly, Aaron, kids that believe, that have that winner's mentality, and that's a reflection of their coach. I don't know the guy that cut him when he was in the NBA, but that guy had to make a major mistake.
See, now, I wasn't going to bring that up, but since you did, and I know you mentioned it on Wednesday, Al Skinner, terrific college player at UMass, had a pro career as well as that bucket goes down. But Al Skinner's pro career ended when the head coach of the Detroit Pistons, Richard J. Vitale, cut him back in
a long time ago.
78?
Yeah, 78. Like yes, sir. There's the drive right here. Look at the kick out. Here's Ellington showing he's more than a three-point shooter. That was Terry, I'm sorry. Terry took the ball strong to the basket.
You know, and he's kind of the barometer for North Carolina. When he plays well, they win. When he struggles, they have struggled at times. He's been inconsistent this year.
He's been up and down, yes, sir. He's been like a lot of my stocks, a little up and down. We talk about stock up and down on Mike and Mike on Monday morning. Two guys I love working with.
Dudley.
Now he's got to shoot this ball.
Driving on Terry, and the foul is called.
He made his mind, and he's going right to the basket.
Foul's going on Hansbrough, and Dudley's going back to the line.
He's having a solid performance tonight. He'll stay in my top 4 for National Player of the Year. See right here, he gets right into the lane. I thought he should have shot that just a little bit sooner. A little bit sooner.
He loves going to the free throw line, so he loves driving and getting as close to the rim as he can.
My VBDI's top 4 have Dudley at number 4, Fasikis at number 3, number 2, Durant, and number 1. Yeah, the mom says he's number 1 to me. And number 1, Orlando Tucker of Wisconsin will be number 1 this week.
His mom, Melinda, looking on 1 of 2 for Dudley. BC has been close throughout the second half, but they've been unable to take the lead from the heels. And it's going to be BC ball.
Poor job execution. Roy not happy with that half-court execution. Going to go up strong with the ball. Learned his trade under Dean Smith, a Hall of Famer. Lloyd Williams, a brilliant career at Kansas, and came to his alma mater, led him to that national title in 2005.
As we mentioned, you and Coach Williams, 2 of the 15 finalists for induction into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. You'll find out Final Four weekend, and we all wish both of you the best of luck.
Oh, you get goosebumps even thinking about it, that your name's mentioned with those giants.
Shot clock at 5. Rice from the elbow. And Hansbrough comes down with a strong rebound.
Oh, what a great steal. Look at the play by Dudley.
Rice for 3.
How big that would have been. It looks like he shot puts it, doesn't he, when he shoots it?
Yeah.
He doesn't have that follow through and that rotation.
But what a play by Dudley. What intelligence and anticipation.
Well, that's what makes him so special. He's got a great basketball IQ.
Under 4 to go.
North Carolina, they haven't gotten the ball at Hansbrough in quite a while.
Terry open. Huge shot.
That's a big 3 by Terry, the stabilizer, a senior, brings that experience factor.
Terry now with 10, 5 Tar Heels in double figures. Timeout Eagles.
That's one of the reasons I like Wisconsin a great deal. They have so much experience with Tucker and company.
All 5 starters now in double figures for North Carolina. What a turnaround. Terry hits the 3 after that great chance for BC at the other end.
Watch this play right here. See the nice reverse action? That's a Larry Bird kind of play. Larry Bird is doing it. Now he kicks it out. If that would have went down when he threw it out to Rice, instead Terry knocks 3. That's like a 6-point turnaround.
Instead, a 7-point lead for the Heels.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. There's good TV, there's better TV, and then there's DirecTV.
Carolina trying to hang on here on the Heights. Chestnut Hill, 73-66. They're leading Boston College. Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. Well, it was a 4-point game moments ago when Jared Dudley made a terrific play. Look at this, reaching in, knocking it away, saving it, finding the open man, Tyrese Rice, but the 3 rimmed out. crowd on Rice. They go down to the other end. Terry knocks down a 3, and the lead for Carolina is 7. The KFC three-point bucket storyline. Boston College shot very well from outside in the first half, Dick. Nothing here in the second half.
I mean, think about how big that play was. If Riceys go down, you got 3. They don't have the 3 the other end. It's a 6-point swing. Crucial possession right now. Crucial. Every possession getting bigger and bigger from Boston College. Will they go down twice this week?
Dudley a little bit long on the 3. Long rebound comes back to him, and a foul is called on Ginyard.
Yeah, not a good play by Ginyard. It stops the clock, allows them to go to the free throw line.
3:16 to go. The Eagles with the ball down by 7. Tonight's telecast is available in stunning high definition on ESPN HD. Back here at Conti Forum, North Carolina 73, BC 66. Right off the top of the show, Dick talked about why he thinks this game is bigger for the Eagles. Dick?
Well, take a look at that schedule right now. If they lose tonight, that's 2 losses in a row. I mean, I could play the devil's advocate. I mean, they could lose their next 3 and have a 5-game losing streak, and now you're 9-7 in conference play. I would say they belong in. However, when you look at losses to Vermont and Duquesne, and you think about the factor of last year, Florida State was 9-7 and didn't get in. That's not the way to get it done. I think they got to win at least 1 more game to apply what I call the Muhammad Ali knockout punch. Knock the committee out. You must knock him out. You don't want to go before the judge and the jury to decide whether you get in.
And I guess one of the questions about BC, they're in an unusual situation this year with one of their key players, Sean Williams, dismissed in the middle of January. Does the committee discount to a certain extent what they did with Williams and look at them more on what they've done since Williams was dismissed?
Well, you got to look at them at what they have now, because Williams is not part of the equation anymore, and he will not ever be.
Since Williams was dismissed, BC is 5-3, 4-3 in league play. They also had an out-of-conference win over Hartford.
Trying to manage the clock right now.
Lawson the pull-up. Rebound, Eagles.
You got to go to Dudley right now. Everything's got to evolve around Dudley. Not that he has to score, but if he gets doubled up, he's got to find a Marshall or a Rice. But they got to make sure the right people have the basketball.
The big 3, the 3 you just mentioned, have 52.
Give it to him.
68.
Oh, they missed him. He was right there posted. He had the guy on his back.
Now he comes out to set a screen.
You got to know the art of when to enter the ball in. North Carolina certainly well coached and knows they want to bring the ball in. Terry playing him.
Again, Rice dominating the basketball. The pull-up from just beyond the free throw line makes it a 3-point game.
He's a one-on-one player, Dan. He's the kind of guy that can beat you one-on-one. Sometimes you could say he dominates it, but that's his style of play, and you have to live with it. And sometimes he'll take you to the winner's circle, and sometimes to the loser's locker room.
The sophomore out of Richmond, Virginia, 20 or more points, 4 games in a row coming into tonight. He's got 18 right now.
He was determined right here, Dan. He wasn't giving this rock up. He was determined to say, I'm going right at you, Lawson. I'm going right out that McDonald's High School All-American. Here he is right now. Lawson was playing him tough, too. That was not an easy shot.
Well, some guys have a knack for making the tough shots go down, and Rice is one of those.
Crowd really into the game. Super fans. They've been all excited. Look at Doug Flutie here cheering. He should get better seats, though, but he's out there cheering. The super fans going, wow. This has been the biggest week in basketball in terms of Boston College for 1 week period. Duke, North Carolina.
Carolina, meanwhile, they've lost 4 times this year. All of them very close games where they had opportunities at the end.
Hansbrough hasn't had 11 touches lately. Somebody's got to get him the rock inside. He's too good, and he also has a knack of getting out of foul line. I would bring it in to Tyler Hansbrough.
A lot of contact between Hansbrough and Oates down low.
Oh, he got fouled right there. He got fouled. There's no question Oates bodied up on him. Al Skinner not happy with that call, but that's a solid call. You can't have all that contact in a post. That's a point of emphasis early in the year. I mean, he pushes him out of the way.
And Al Now Skinner upset. I don't know if we can tell for sure whether it's with the call or with Oates for committing the foul.
I got to believe it's with the call.
Yeah. Hansbrough, 77%. He knew he'd missed it. He went racing in after him.
Okay, my friend, here you come to winning time. Here's where all the stars really rise.
What a good game here tonight.
Yes, sir. Terry's got Dudley right now. He had him wide open.
This would tie it.
He got fouled. He got fouled. He has a red drawn out. Looks at his mom up in the stands. Melinda says, that's my guy. That's my guy. He's special. He really is a special player. He certainly has all the attributes Bob Ryan, the fine columnist, told me about. He hangs right there long enough to draw the contact. He's done this a number of times.
Yep. Aaron Andrews has more. Aaron?
Dan, following the loss to Virginia Tech, Marcus Ginyard very vocal in the media saying we have to be tougher in late game situations. We did not have the hunger late in the game. Let's see if that message sticks, Dan.
Got to make those free throws, Aaron. Also, Lawson echoed the same. Melinda certainly said, come on, Jared, make these count. That's my guy.
Wow.
Oh, wow, that's
Remember,
brilliant.
he missed 2 out of 3 after this happened in the first half, and he's a good free throw shooter, 76% on the season.
I mean, with a minute 29, you're down 3, you're at home. You can't go 1 for 3 or 0 for 3. That is major.
Unbelievable.
That is major. The hat trick right there. That
76% shooter misses 3.
I mean, every Boston College fan was happy to see him and jubilant on the free throw line. He can't hang his head here right now. He's got to play.
As a team, Dick, they're 11 of 21 from the free throw line tonight.
Oh, that's a nightmare, especially at home in a game this close.
We'll go into the final minute. Carolina with the ball in a 3-point lead. Ginyard, not an offensive player, misses the jumper. Good rebound in traffic by Oates.
Oates had a real good start in this game, scoring 7 quick points and hasn't been heard from since.
No, has not scored since. Carolina bench wanted a walk on Dudley.
You don't have to go for the 3 right now. Just get to the goal. What a play. What a play. You talk about drama. Oh, what an incredible drive by Rice.
Off balance, falling out of bounds. Tyrese Rice now has 20.
He's so explosive. He's really sensational in terms of his unbelievable ability to get to the basket. There he is now in a little one-on-one maneuver. He's just so determined. Splits the defense, flips it off the glass, gets the good English, lays it on the glass.
Sometimes it seems, Dick, the harder the shot, the more likely he is to make it.
I know. He thinks degree of difficulty, he's going to get a few more points.
Took out some photographers on press row as well.
Now they got to really lock up defensively. North Carolina's going to try to obviously use some clock.
Shot clock is turned off. 30 seconds to go. Both teams in the penalty. Both teams with multiple timeouts remaining.
Dan, I thought they hurt themselves big time when you talk about Boston College against Duke allowing so much time off the clock late in the game. They didn't foul. Sometimes you got to utilize the Jimmy Valvano philosophy as foul, put him on the free throw line, and hope for that missed free throw. How big are those 3 misses by Dudley going to be on his mind if they were to lose tonight? Think about it. 3 opportunities to make a free throw, to go to the line, and to miss those 3. That's got to be weighing on his mind.
Especially because he's an All-American. He's a senior. He's 76%. I mean, everything seemed to be in his favor.
I mean, look at the frustration. She can't believe it, Mom. She knows how good he is.
Well, now you're Carolina. You got the ball, the lead, and 30 seconds to go. Assuming you get it over half court, what are you going to try to do?
Well, you're going to take time off the clock. Right now, you don't need points. You need time. You're going to take time off that clock. They post them up really well. Hands well against the pressure.
And BC fouls Ginyard. They're going to send the player who has not played all that much tonight. 72% on the season. They'll send him to the line for the 1-and-1.
Sometimes you got to foul whoever's there, no matter how good he is statistically on the free throw line, because you can't let that clock just run. They certainly responded very positively tonight, Boston College, in terms of their effort. North Carolina, it's a tough place. They met a very emotional team tonight. North Carolina on the road, trying to survive to get that journey back to Chapel Hill.
This is what Ginyard is dealing with as he steps to the line for the first time tonight.
Great free throw shooters don't allow that to even phase him. Right there, he stepped up with confidence.
A defensive stopper, kind of a glue guy, not asked to produce a lot offensively, calmly knocks down the first.
Well, even if he converts this, it's a one-possession game.
Yeah.
So now you got to think about Marshall shooting a three or Dudley.
Roy Williams calls a 30-second timeout.
See, now you got to think about, you know, if he gets under 5 seconds, I don't let him shoot the three. But with obviously time like this,
right,
you're not going to foul. Put him on a free throw line.
Now, Judgment of the Week presented by Cisco is coming up beginning on a Monday, and a number of games to look forward to on the ESPN family of networks. Wisconsin against Michigan State. Boy, but the Spartans love a big attention-grabbing win over the Badgers. BC and Vatek in what should be a terrific game. Texas A&M got another road win today. They won at Oklahoma today. They'll take on Oklahoma State on Wednesday night.
I'll tell you one thing, AC Lawrence, a player at the end of the game. He makes big plays. Look at this game here tonight. Three-point shooting, 5 for 16, shooting 36%. The guys you got to think about, obviously, Dudley has a knack of getting fouled shooting the three.
Now, keep an eye on one guy to keep an eye on is John Oates. The big guy shoots threes. More than half of his attempts are from beyond the arc. So really, everybody but Blair can knock down the three. And now they get it over, and Al Skinner calls a timeout. The crowd cheers. Rice lofted it up, and it actually went in.
Well, you mentioned that Wisconsin game going to Michigan State. Wisconsin's got to be very careful that they're not thinking about the weekend against Ohio State. The end zone will be explosive. We're going to be down there. What Saturdays we have had. Unbelievable. Last week, Florida, Kentucky.
Can't wait to get to East Lansing next week for Indiana, Michigan State. Tyrese Rice, he knows they're calling a timeout, then just for fun, lost the shot, and it goes in.
Oh, so that tells you statistically the next one won't go in. I mean, he shot that one nice and comfortable, very relaxed.
BC has not made a three in the second half, 0 for 8.
So right now, if you're North Carolina, you got to play on that three-point line. You got to play on the three-point line and push them away from that line, not allowing them to square their body and get great looks. Perimeter three-point defense now is vital.
3-point lead for Carolina. BC's got 1 timeout left. Dudley will inbound.
You got to pressure, make him try to drive with the basketball.
Marshall trying to hand off to Rice. They're going to go for 2, and it's swatted away by Brandon Wright.
There's that reach by Wright. Right now, you got to think nothing but 3, Dan. You can't think about 2 with 12 ticks on the clock.
That play cost him a little bit more than 6 seconds.
Got to set a screen. You got to go for the 3. You got to go for the 3. He had a look. He's going to try to get contact.
Missed the 3. Rebound to Lawson. And the foul committed by Blair. And now Carolina can smell it. And Dudley will be seeing that 3 and maybe even more of those free throws in his sleep tonight.
Well, what looked like was going to be a special week for Boston College could be the toughest that they've had. Losing to Duke and possibly losing here. And then get on the plane and go to Virginia Tech. Oh, look at the mom
and his brother looking on. You know, a good job there by Terry, too. He made sure that Dudley couldn't bait him into a foul. Blair has fouled out for the Eagles.
And Jared's had such a great career here, and I know it's got to really weigh on him missing those 3 free throws.
Missed 3 in the first half as well. 7 for 13 on the night. Just so unusual for a 76% free throw shooter. But this is a team that will bounce back. They'll be heard from. And you got to assume that if they haven't done it already, they're going to do enough to get into the tournament.
Well, you know, Virginia Tech certainly down there is going to have a little revenge on their mind as well, because they put the hurt on Virginia Tech. They had Sean Williams at that time. Really blew him out.
Lawson at the line for Carolina. Just a 64% shooter. This is 2 free throws, though. That'll make it a 2-possession game, and that should just about do it.
should lock it up, should make it a real happy trip for the Tar Heels going back to Chapel Hill.
With a win here tonight, Dick, Carolina would move to 9-3. They would move into a tie for first with Virginia. Virginia Tech would be 8-3, and BC would be 9-4.
Al Skinner and his staff certainly had the kids prepared and ready to play. They responded with a great effort here. It's amazing how many times we watch a game, we do a game, Dan, and it comes down to the simple art of free throw shooting.
Carolina lost earlier in the week at home to Virginia Tech, apparently on their way to a win here tonight, which would move them to 23-4 on the season as we check out their remaining schedule. Home against NC State. They'd love to avenge the loss from earlier this season. On the road at Maryland and Georgia Tech. They finish up at home against Duke and then into the ACC tournament down in Tampa, St. Pete.
I'll tell you one thing, those two road games are going to be really tough. Maryland, Georgia Tech playing well right now at home. I'll tell you another thing, the ACC tournament, I live in that area. They are working so hard. The St. Petersburg Times and the Tampa Tribune doing a phenomenal job. Brian Landman and Joey Johnston and all those writers covering everyday stories about it. I know they're so excited about it being played in that area. Plus, I love it. It's a short trip.
Sports Center next here on ESPN. Rice misses the three, and Carolina's going to walk out of here with a victory. 77-72. BC with a huge week of home basketball. They lose by 8 to Duke on Wednesday. They lose by 5 to Carolina here tonight. Again, the final, North Carolina 77 to Boston College 72. Sports Center is next here on ESPN. And for more on this game, we'll be on ESPN News in just a moment to wrap it up. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Dick Vitale and Aaron Andrews, I'm Dan Schulman. So long from Chestnut Hill. Thanks for watching, everybody. Sports Center is next.